Hi YouTube, this is Andy once again from All Things Mini, and today for the next part in the series on basic issues with airbrushes and hopefully how to deal with them is the case of when your paint is too thick. Now, as you can see there, that's a very small hole. That hole is absolutely tiny. This one is, let's see how big this one is, about 0.23 millimeters. This particular model of airbrush does actually go down to 0.18 mils, which is getting very small. Now, as you might have already seen in a previous episode, 3, 4 maybe, I can't remember, I'm trying to churn these out quite quickly now. We looked at the problem for when something's too watery and it collected. Now what happens if it's not too watery but actually too thick? Now, I haven't looked, in all fairness, I haven't looked at anything from the new Games Workshop paint model apart from Lamian Medium and the texture paints, which I think are rather cool. Overpriced, unfortunately, but still rather cool. They're good, get some decent effects with them. But of course, I don't know if they have an equivalent for these ones now. They've renamed an awful lot of their painting range, and now they're sort of, they've also got some kind of sort of new painting sort of stuff. It's new for GW, but maybe not for hobbyists. It depends who you use. And anyway, so basically, of course, when I got back into the hobby, pots of paint were, well, when I first started, pots of paint were £1.30 or £1.40, something like that, for the same level of, volume of paint that you use. And also on top of that, you didn't have anything like this as you do, well, you used to have. None of the washes, none of the foundations and stuff like that, and I was quite pleased on how they had advanced everything. But of course, as you know, or if you're just getting into the hobby, you may not know unless they have an equivalent, and you might have been told the foundation paints are a lot thicker than the normal sort of Citadel colours. And basically they're quite goopy and what else have you. They're quite thick. The pigment size is supposed to be large and such, and basically with something this small, these things can have such a bit of an effect by being so thick. So basically, let's have a look. If we were just to pour a little bit of that's it, hit the camera yet again. Neat. What is this? Space Wolf Grey, isn't it? Now I do this because, as I said, I've moved over to Vallejo mainly, and I'm not prepared to worry too much about these because I've got an awful lot of these colours anyway. But it seems harder to get Vallejo unless you go on eBay than it is something like this when you can just go down your local GW store or something like that. Anyway, so as you can see, as I said, some of the people out there might think, well, come on mate, you're being a bit daft. If you're putting it in that thick, then you're a bit silly, which you are. If you are putting it in that thick, you are way too silly. Now, I've had to turn the pressure right up on my compressor. I'll open the MAC valve out so it allows the most amount of air volume out. The main reason is because I know for a fact that this stuff isn't going to get through, partially because of experience, partially because of my physics background. It's trying to force a very viscous, very sort of thick, non-viscous liquid through a tiny little hole. It ain't going to happen. Now, I'm going to show you what's going to happen when I try to give this on a blast. This is just some bit of rubbish, like some kind of, what's it, a ghoul holding some kind of torso. And basically, as I said, yes, I'm going to try and blast this with just neat, and then you'll see the effect. You really shouldn't see much, in all fairness. Now, I'll turn that off before it goes crazy again, because as I say, my compressor's a load of rubbish. Basically, as you can see, I will put this in HD. Let's see how close we can get in there so I can pick up what we need. Oh, excellent, that's pretty good. Ooh, good grief, didn't know my camera could do this. Now, hopefully in HD you'll be able to see this. There are spots of paint all over the place. It does not look uniform in the slightest, and that is an issue. As I said, I've always been, until watching an American chap, as I said, he was a fantastic airbrush artist. I mean, the stuff he does is truly amazing. And I always found that I was actually too thick. Now, this is a twofold problem. The problem is, first of all, you've just got neat, well, actually no, threefold problem really, if we're gonna be that pedantic. First one is that we've got actual neat paint on there, squirt too much on it, and basically you're gonna start covering all the detailing. And of course, miniatures are getting more and more detailed these days. It's absolutely fantastic. The second thing is, it's spotty. As I've said already, there's loads and loads of little spots there. As I said, hopefully you can see this. If not, I'll render the video and all that. And if I find that it's not very good quality, then basically I'll have to put it on my blog. So check out the blog. But basically, there's spots of Space Force grey all over the place. It's quite thick there and so on and so forth. But still, it's certainly not brilliant. And whilst I'm talking, I better stick that in there because I don't want that setting. And that leads me directly right on to the third problem. And that is with your actual airbrush. Now, just saying that, actually, let's just try and... Because these things are so well made and they are so engineered to be very, very accurate and stuff like that. The channels for the air and the fluids, what have you, they're very small, and of course once they get to the actual needle, they're absolutely minute, and you have a tendency to clog this one up badly. So threefold problem. One, basically you're clogging up details in this. Two, you're putting not a proper coat but a spotty coat. And three, you are going to start to damage, or if not clog up, your airbrush. Now, what do you do to get around this problem? Well, no surprise, you either use a flow aid and water mix, or a decent amount of water. Basically, an old brush, just stick your water in, a couple of drops, give that a bit of a swirl around, and as you can see now, it's more fluid, and therefore you're going to be able to use it properly. Now, if like me, you've had this sitting here for a couple of minutes and it's been neat paint in there, I don't think I'm going to get too much of a flow, so I'm going to have to clean this one now. So anyway, people of the wonderful world of YouTube, and of course of our wonderful hobbies, I hope this has helped. So remember, if it's too thick, it starts to spot and it comes out very, very laboured, and basically just water it down and you should be fine. If you're not happy with doing that, just refresh the whole palette, maybe consider cleaning your airbrush. Alright then people, as I said, I shall catch you later. I hope you find this useful. If you like this channel, please do subscribe. If you want to send a comment or a private message or a like thumb or whatever, please do. Right, cheers then.